President Trump pushing for sweeping education reform, including potentially dismantling the Department of Education altogether. President Trump's former Education Secretary, Betsy DeVos, has come out in support of that plan. My next guest also worked in the Education Department in the first Trump administration. What does she think? Former Department of Education Press Secretary and Defense of Freedom Institute spokeswoman Angela Morabito joins me now. Angela, welcome.
Thanks for having me.
So we saw House Democrats head down to the Education Department yesterday, demanding a meeting with acting leadership. It didn't work. What do you make of the on-camera confrontation?
You know, these Democrats are just total hypocrites on education. Where was the outrage a couple weeks ago when we found out that 1 in 3 8th graders can't read? Where was the outrage when students were locked out of schools for upwards of a year during COVID, thanks to those teacher union bosses? It was crickets from these people. And yet, when President Trump decides that it's time to cut back some of this wasteful bureaucracy, then they're up in arms and they've apparently forgotten how to make appointments. It shows you where their priorities are, and sadly, it's just not on students.
A question I get from parents who are concerned about our children not scoring higher is, do we need a Department of Education?
We don't. Former Secretary DeVos, who I had the honor of serving under, look, she is absolutely right. And future Education Secretary Linda McMahon has some great education leadership experience, but to me, I think her greatest qualification is her willingness to work herself out of a job. The Education Department spends $80 billion a year, and it educates 0 students. So all of this money gets soaked up by a gigantic bureaucracy when it would be much better going into classrooms where it could actually make a difference for kids.
You mentioned Linda McMahon, President Trump's choice to lead the Department of Education. She has a confirmation hearing coming up this coming week. What are your expectations?
I expect to hear from her a students first agenda that starts with cutting waste from the federal government and ultimately puts power back in the hands of parents. I'm also very much looking forward to hearing the future secretary talk about her vision for education. What does it look like when America leads the world in education? Because we can and we should, but falling standards and misplaced priorities have robbed millions of kids of a great education. This should stop here. President Trump has been very clear that he is the school choice president, and I know that future Secretary McMahon will do a great job supporting his vision.
All right. Among President Trump's early executive orders, one promoting school choice, and as you can see on the nation's report card, 61% of 4th graders, 78% of 8th graders failure to meet basic math standards. So the numbers are quite troubling. He did an executive order promoting school choice. What do you expect the impact of that will be?
Well, when parents have school choice, government-run schools lose their monopoly over kids in any given area. So it means they have to compete. They've got to deliver a meaningful education, and they can't just count on, well, we get everybody in the district. I hope that 10, 20, 30 years from now, we look back at this campaign for school choice and think of it the way we might think of, well, campaigning choose your doctor or choose your grocery store. It's ridiculous that we even have to ask for this, but school choice is proven. Studies show time and again that it benefits all students, including those who stay in their government-assigned school. So this is a watershed moment for education freedom, and I can't wait to see what comes next.
Does it also force lower performing schools to do better?
It does, because they can't just expect kids to keep showing up when they continually fail year after year. I think that for these first couple weeks of the Trump administration have put every school leader and school district leader on notice that failure won't be tolerated. You can't just coast anymore. And that alone is an incredible start in getting schools to shape up and actually serve students and families.
Our kids deserve better. There's no doubt about it. Angela Morabito, thank you so much for your time and analysis today. I see your NFL football. Enjoy the game.